What's going on, guys? So let's talk about this. You knew I was going to, so let's get it underway. Do I want to see it? Do I not want to see it? And yes, I'm talking about PlayStation's heavily rumored next portable failure. Oh, I'm sorry. You really thought I was going to say it was going to succeed? Has anybody paid attention to PlayStation's portable history? Anybody? No? Alright, let's run down memory lane here. PSP. A great system. I love the damn thing. Hell, I bought like every iteration there was. My favorite one, of course, being the 1001 model because it's the easiest one to mod. But I digress. Still, I loved the PS Vita. To me, it was a PS2 in my pocket. And that to me was great. I loved it. I loved Crisis Core, one of my favorite PSP games. Birth by Sleep, Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater. Um, my bad, that's the wrong one. Peace Walkers. I caught that. Peace Walkers is another great game. Um, Grand Theft Auto, Liberty City Stories. Yes, started on the PSP, wasn't a PS2 exclusive or even on there first. Vice City Stories again, P first, PS2 later. Um, you know, unfortunately, the Silent Hill games were on other systems at the exact same time, and both of them sucked. Shattered Memories was horrible, and Silent Hill Origins is better on PS2 just because it handles better. What can I say? Um, but during the PSP's lifespan, even though it had great games, was a movie player. They released a lineup of movies basically competing with DVDs on the little UMD disc. Yes, they did that. And I bought Advent Children on it day one. The Final Fantasy VII movie, yeah, I bought that when it launched on PSP. I remember doing that. I thought, this is great. Um, you know, the features on it, you had MP3, video player, a movie player, a game player. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff within the PSP. It was great. Even with the negativity of the proprietary memory cards, which is where that started. Um, to me, the PSP was a great system. Um, but Sony did one thing majorly fucking wrong during the PSP life cycle. Even though it was such a great system, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, the one thing Sony did that fucked them hard during the PSP life cycle, and they did it again with the PS Vitas. I don't think I'm not gonna say it. PlayStation completely put the PSP to the side, basically killing the system during the launch of the PS3. When the PS3 launched, they basically forgot, completely forgot, and focused solely on the PS3. I mean, they didn't whisper anything about the PSP. They didn't talk about the PSP if you brought it up. They didn't do anything. Um, this reputation Sony has for like RPGs and indie games supporting the entire console is not a lie. That is something that they've done now twice. Because Sony drops their own support for their handhelds. It's not that they're not successful. It's not that nobody wants it. It's Sony just doesn't believe in it. So I don't understand why anybody who works for Sony, regardless of how new they are, would say anything about Sony's handheld division. If anything, it's the fucking do not mention part of Sony because they just completely fuck it. They do. Nobody else. It's not the fans. The PSP sold substantially well when they were supporting it. The PSP dried up because they quit. The community just left because Sony left. When Sony left the PSP and stopped supporting it, the fans stopped buying it. So during the PS3's release and Sony dropping it, their fans quit. And they thought, okay, well, maybe they're working on another one. And that wasn't the case. They just wanted to support the PS3. Then we get in the PS3's life cycle. PS3 is not doing so good at the very beginning of its life cycle. What is it they do over there at Sony? Well, the PS3 isn't selling. Let's go run back over to the PSP as if it, we didn't forget about it, as if we're not treating it like the bastard child, which everybody knew was going on. So what happened? Well, they dropped it again after trying with very big key games that Sony is known for. I mean, Peace Walkers launched after the depression of the PSP, meaning after Sony stopped supporting it for a couple of years. Yeah, that's when Peace Walkers was released. It was released alongside um, Ghost of Sparta, which is a God of War title. It was also Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts. These games came out after that depression period of no support, seeing no physical anything because the PS3 came out. Those games came out. Mod Nation Racers, um, and stuff like that. So they put their heavy hitters trying to, get life back in that damn PSP because they knew they killed it. They knew it was their fault. And then when their fans were like, no, we don't care about this, they just let it die off completely. Um, because the number they saw sell at the beginning wasn't the same after the what I call depression of PSP. It wasn't the same. It just stopped. Then Sony announced the PS Vita. PS Vita came out towards the middle of the PS3, and everybody was super hyped. They were like, "All right, Sony, you learned from your first fucking mistake because it was your first handheld. This is gonna be different." Anybody with a brain knew it wasn't about to be any different. First of all, if you fuck up your first handheld, your second's not gonna do any better, and it's been proven. Yes, the Vita has a loyal following because to me, they seem like we don't want to believe Sony gave up on it, even though Sony has said they've given up on it. That's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong, but I have a Vita myself. And I don't have it because I believe Sony's going to do anything. I have it because there's like a handful of games I want to play. Like, I like Uncharted, the Golden Abyss. I almost said Lost Legacy, which is okay, but I have that too. So, Uncharted Golden Abyss. I want to play Gravity Rush the way it was intended to play on PSP or PS Vita. Excuse me, not PS4. Killzone. I want to play that. I heard that one is the best one. The Call of Duty Declassified is really a good game. There's just so many I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. They're all running at the same time. They're really good. And yes, they've seen re-releases on the PS4, but I'd rather play them on their first ever console, get the real feel of how these are supposed to be played. And within the PS Vita life, okay, let's talk about the beginning, the launch. It was a great launch. People loved it. They were like, yes, okay, fuck. Like, they were super excited, but they were excited in that way. Because Sony launched the PS Vita with another proprietary memory card that was not bundled with the fucking system. And they launched the system at $250, I do believe. $250. And then you had to buy a memory card, proprietary memory card, that was way overpriced. Making your purchase now go up to $300, if not $350, close to even $400, depending on the size of the memory card. And even in today's market, 2018, a PS Vita can still run you around $300 used. Not new. No, not new. Used. Meaning the memory card used and the system itself. Yes. Even today, it can still run up to $300. I wish I was kidding. Sony really messed up because, first off, them proprietary memory cards, they didn't just put those out there like fucking grass seeds. They didn't just throw them everywhere and just... No, they made those things really difficult to come by for some fucking reason. You can walk in anywhere. Any GameStop, walk in there, go. And ask them, do y'all have a PS Vita memory card? A lot of their stores have told me no. A lot. And I don't mean just the 64 or the 32. I mean even the 8 and 16s are hard to come by. And yes, you can only go up to 64, just in case you thought I was bullshit. No. It only goes up to 64, which means Sony killed the damn thing off before it could get any good memory. People always say, oh, but what about the digital side of things? No. Don't think that's going to be good for 64 gigs. You're out of your fucking mind if you believe that. Now, you can upload out, like, probably thousands of fucking independent titles, but games like Uncharted? No. Games like Uncharted take about 3 to 4 gigs. You know, so, no. 64 was not going to last. 64 gigs was not going to help the Vita. And PlayStation was not about to release 128 gig. Believe me, people would have fucking rioted, probably knocked Sony's building down. Because it was already over $100 for 64 gigs. Already over 100 at launch. So let's put this in perspective of what that did. People, again, were super excited for the Vita. Like, yay, a new handheld from Sony. And the more information they got, they were like, fuck, another fuck up. You see what I'm saying? So, even though the library of games was strong, I mean, they got some really good exclusives on that PS Vita that they've been porting to the PS4 so you can play them, because like with the Nintendo Wii U, not many people played them on the Vita, because even though they might have bought it on launch, they got rid of it 3, 4, even a year later. 3, 4 weeks, 3, 4 months, a year later. People were returning the damn thing because they didn't want something that cost damn near the same price as a PS3. Mobile gaming at that time was really something only a handful of people liked. To be real with you, 100% fact. Even a lot of people now don't really appreciate mobile gaming. And I don't mean telephones, I mean the portable side. I mean the Switch, the 3DS, the Vita, the PSP, the Game Boy Color, the DS, the Advance, all those. They don't appreciate them. Even the Sega fucking Game Gear. People don't appreciate those. It's a very tight-knit group, a very, you know, certain amount of people. Only a certain amount of people like portable gaming. I love portable gaming. I love the idea of not having to be confined to my fucking television, because it makes me just feel like I can't move, I can't go anywhere when I am strictly on my television. You know, which is why I love the Switch, which is why I love the 3DS, which is why, yes, I do love Vita, yes, I do love PSP, Game Gear is great. I love these things. But they're just not supported the way they should when it comes to the Sony side of things. Game Gear got heavily pushed during Sega. Sega and Nintendo were gaming companies, and they pushed the products because they knew they weren't going to get any money anywhere else. Sony and Microsoft are not gaming companies. They have a gaming machine, but they're not gaming companies. If they were gaming companies, believe me, Sony's Vita wouldn't have died the way it did. And yes, that's only here in the States. In Japan, I understand the damn thing's doing great. But I also have a feeling in Japan, they're not paying over $100 for a fucking memory card. I'm just going to point that out. Just put your thought on that. There's no way that Japan is paying $100+ for a 64 gig memory card. And I'm almost certain they have bigger than 64 gigs. Why wouldn't they? Sony is in Japan. Why wouldn't they? You know what I'm saying? So, when you combine all these things, do you want another fucking PlayStation to do another... Do you want another portable from PlayStation is what I'm trying to say. Do you really want one? I don't. And I love portables. I love portable gaming. It's so much more entertaining to be able to take these things on the go, play them at your own convenience, and have to be tied down to a television in my fucking head. So, I don't want PlayStation to do another one. I don't think they can afford it. I don't think PlayStation can physically afford another failure. I don't think their stockholders, I don't think the bosses should allow it. And I don't mean the PlayStation bosses, I mean the Sony bosses. The companies PlayStation reports to, you know, the ones who own them, I don't think they should allow it. Because, again, PlayStation Portable, PSP, failure. Even though, yes, the numbers were strong, it just came back as a failure because Sony didn't support it themselves. They dropped it and then came back to it, and it was already DOA. Then you have the PlayStation Vita. Again, Sony themselves didn't support it. It was pretty much dead on arrival, DOA. Do you really, Sony, do you really think you have any money left for any more failed ventures? Are you so fucking stupidly blind, Sony, that you can't see that you haven't done this, meaning only dropped a little just to go back up? You've been on a downward spiral with your other divisions. Movies, television, physical televisions, Blu-ray players, DVD players, DVDs in general, Blu-rays in general, are on their way out. Those things are becoming more and more irrelevant. I know it's still a ways away before it makes like with MP3s, where CDs are no longer bought because stores no longer sell them because of MP3s. But I think we're close to your Blu-ray players, your patents on all those things matter less and less and less. And meaning that you're seeing a decline in your value. You're not going to get anything off of those if people aren't buying 4K televisions to watch 4K Blu-rays on your 4K Blu-ray player. If that's not happening. And because of that, your stock is just, it's on this downward spiral. I don't mean your stock, I mean your actual money. It has been on a downward slope because you're invested in these physical things, but that digital market is the future, the all digital future there, which to me is horrible, but still, it's a thing. And unfortunately, you don't need to release anything that's a physical unless it's an actual console that you're going to fully support. And with your history, I don't believe another handheld should ever happen because you've proven time and time again you don't support handheld gaming. You don't support that medium. You only support your core console. So you should only worry about it. Don't lose money because you want to be a me too. Don't do that. Okay? People are literally buying Sony PlayStation so you can keep surviving. How much money are you wanting to lose? All of it? Because you can. Even if your core console is remaining good, even though you yourselves came out this past week and said PlayStation sales are slowing way down from where they were a couple years ago. I've said they're going to slow down eventually before anyway because there's common sense. There's only so many you can sell before you're starting to count doubles of people who bought them. And that you don't even count used sales. So the used side of that's another thing. The fact you don't count used because you don't see any of that money means that, oh, you have 70 plus million people who bought it once. Cool. You probably got rid of it and bought it used from GameStop again. You see what I'm saying? So don't do this. Don't make another portable device because of this shit. I'm telling you, it's not going to play over the way you want it to. It's not going to look good to your investors or your stockholders because they're going to say you're just throwing money in the toilet. And I'd have to agree with them. If you don't support your own products, and I know you don't support handhelds, you have no reason to create one. Just because Nintendo is successful doesn't mean you will be. And I don't mean that because I like PlayStation or I like Nintendo more than one or the other. I'm going off of the history. PlayStation, your history is horrible when it comes to handhelds. Do me a favor, do you a favor, and just don't do it. Sorry, I'm fucking burning up. It is hot as shit. And I'm out this bitch.